The book of Revelation says, "The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ." This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Hello, folks. Terry Chamish here with a good show, I promise. Now, last week we had Dr. Daisy Stern, and I wrote an article. The article is called The Poop of Rome. And because of that interview, people are listening to us. So I decided that Daisy gets back. Here she is. Daisy, how are you?
Thank God I'm okay. How are you, Barry?
Oh, hanging in, doing my best. But
yes.
let's go and do the stuff. Now, Daisy, give me your answer due. What about the 2 apartments paid for in Hebron? It's now a big issue amongst Jews. Nobody else knows about it. What happened there?
What happened in Hebron? Well, it is definitely a very important issue going on. If you want to start with that, we can certainly talk about that. Can I give you a little introduction before we go there?
Sure, give me an intro.
You know, I've been just following all the news happening this week all over the world, in Israel and everything. And it's just, you know, I thought we were sort of going to play it by ear a little bit. I certainly have no problem discussing Hebron, but I just think there's just so much. And we have 1 hour, we can sort of explore all these news and try to make sense of everything that's happening.
No, there's no making sense of it. I've given up on that.
Well, for instance, you know, I was just listening to the radio a couple of minutes before you appeared, and before I appeared, and they were discussing the Pope and Rouhani in Rome and all that. I hope that we'll get to those topics as well.
Go ahead, if that's what interests
No, I don't have to start like this. I don't like starting on. I'm just looking at the total picture of everything that's going on, and it's just everything is getting so crazy, you know? It's like
actually,
everything is escalating.
It's not getting crazy. It's right on line with the way it always was. But again, that's just me.
No, you're right. I mean, it's basically coming to a head. You know, it's, with other words, everything that was undercover is becoming very clear and very obvious. And
well, to us,
you can see the world. What?
To us, most people. Look, first things first, let's look at what you know, the Jews are on the way out. I mean, you're out of West Bank, you're out of Judea, Samaria. It's inevitable. It's not just the cards thrown into the fire. It's inevitable. These 2 apartments in Hebron are the latest. The Jews paid for them, and Jews weren't allowed into them, and Jews were thrown out of them. Only because you're from Hebron did I bring this up as a major,
Yes. I mean, the interesting thing is I was away from here for a while, and I came back the very same day where the Jews entered. So I was sort of connected time-wise with this story. I didn't actually go there that day, but I arrived at pretty much at the same time as the guys moved in, the families moved in. But I don't know if you followed the latest news about that.
I'm trying.
Okay. Well, basically, quite a few things have happened since they moved in. Of course, they were kicked out immediately by Yalon, by the defense minister, who found all kinds of excuses why they had to get out, when in fact there's no excuse whatsoever except for his will for them to be out, which is typical of the will of Bibi. I mean, after all, he's the one that gave up Hebron, right? I mean, he's the one that...
Actually, it was way before. You know what? If you want to talk about giving up Hebron, you Go to Dr. Baruch.
No, we don't have to go back there. That's okay. I mean, if we're going to start going back in time, we're never going to get to the present. So I don't need to go back there. That's fine. I would rather talk about what's happening today.
Well, they paid for the apartment, and they're not being compensated, and they were thrown out, and there's all kinds of things that could be discussed.
Right.
You know,
so
just basic stuff.
So basically what happened is a couple of Knesset members threatened to board the coalition and basically make the governments fall. They threatened Bibi. They said, if you're not going to let the Jews go back, we're going to destroy your government. So he got scared, and he promised to find a solution. So he established a commission made up of, among others, there were 3 people, then he added himself to it. So the first person is Yalon. I mean, who needs him? I mean, he already we know exactly where he stands. And then Ayelet, who is
who? Say it again.
Minister of Justice. She's part of that coalition, and also Uri Ariel is going to be part of the coalition, and then Bibi put himself there. So what you have there...
So these are an unbiased commission.
It's supposed to be unbiased. I mean, Uri Ariel has always been pro-settlement, but what is he going to... And also, Ayelet Shaked basically has always voiced her support for settlements, but at the same time, she's basically going with the wind, you know, whatever they tell her. She's a very... she's a flimsy... I mean, from what I've seen...
Flexible. She's very flexible.
She's
very flexible.
She's not really, I mean, yeah, I think she went there for her good looks, if you're asking me. I think that's why they chose her, because I don't see that she has any kind of weight. At least if you go to Tzipi Hotter Valley, at least what she says makes sense. This girl, Ayelet Shaked, is a hot air balloon. You know, excuse me for saying that she's useless, okay?
All right,
but
what did
this
the
Yalon is elected. What?
What
so
did
this
the
is how they
discover?
So they haven't discovered anything. This is how they try to pacify the rebellion, because there started to be a very strong rebellion against this government. They say enough is enough. You know what you do. They even actually started using the language that the left is always using, calling the settlers racist. So then the settlers said, you're being racist, and whatever is going on. So basically, for the time being, since that commission has been established, there is relative silence about the issue. But what came up today, I don't know if you've been following this whole thing with Ezra.
As best as I can, okay?
Okay, so basically what's happened is these extreme leftist radicals who have been boasting, and it was caught on tape. One of them is Ezra Nawi, who is he's a Muslim, some horrible type. And basically they have been boasting of giving over Palestinians who sold houses to Jews to the PA to be tortured and killed. And so this Ezra Nawi was arrested a few days ago, then he was released again. So obviously the government doesn't take what he did too seriously. But what happened now is the PA, basically the Palestinian Authority, Abbas, has decided to arrest the son and I believe the brother, another family member of the Arab who sold the houses to the Jews. So now the son, who's 17 years old, is in the hand of the PA, and that other family member is also. And they basically, they won't let them go. They're blackmailing the seller, and they said, until you turn yourselves in, we're not going to let your son and your brother go. So now Shlomo Levinger, who is the person, the son of Rav Levinger, who is a spokesperson among others, has asked the Israeli government to take a stand and to do everything they can to protect this Arab. Because the Arab, he was in friendly terms. I mean, I don't know who he is. I mean, I'm sure they know, and probably the government knows too. He was in friendly terms with the Jews. He sold them the houses, and now he's under threat of the death threat by the PA. His son is arrested, his brother is arrested, and they're confronting the Israeli government. Say, are you going to protect these Arabs? They're asking Israel to protect the Arabs. So let's see what Israel does.
I don't think they're going to protect them. Okay,
They're gonna let them go.
I
You
think
know.
there's a lesson here that if you make a very legal transaction that isn't politically what they want, you'll be left
Yes.
to the Palestinian Authority to be tortured. Okay,
But they
that's
don't have
simple.
egg on their faces, these Israelis. Because, I mean, if they can show to the world that they're willing to have an Arab killed, I mean, what is the left? I mean, obviously the left couldn't care less. The Israeli left, because a lot of them were supporting the Sezhonawi. You know, I mean, they don't mind if Arabs get killed as long as Jews get thrown out. I mean, this is just unbelievable. You know, they don't care about Arabs. They don't care about anyone. They really, really have. They couldn't care less about anybody. They are just evil. They're simply evil.
Well,
Yeah.
they
So that's what
care
I'm saying.
about their ideology, and it gets deeper than that. And I'm not going to dive into the left and what they. Well, look,
Oh,
this
I'm
is like
just,
Zionism. This is a whole deeper subject. The
yes, I
fact
mean, I
of the
don't
matter
get
is,
into it. I just wanted to discuss what's happening right now. You know, it's pretty
where are they
disgusting.
living?
Who? The
The two
families?
families who bought their new homes. They were
I
supposed to be
don't,
moving in.
the people that were moving in, I don't believe were the families, the people who bought the building. I have a feeling, I mean, I'm not sure, but knowing how they have acted in the past, I have a feeling that that building was bought by a donor, and the families, a lot of families went in who basically were living somewhere else. You know, I don't know where they were living. I mean, I'm not telling you facts. I just assume that it's not actually the owners who were supposed to move in.
Well, what's
I
the
might be wrong.
solution? The solution is hand back the money, say no deal, but they're not going to hand back the money, are they?
They're not. No. They're going to hold on to it. I mean, there was a building like this also 2 years ago, a few years ago, where the whole thing went out. Eventually, they went in, but it took years of negotiations and all kinds of, all kinds of procedures and God knows what. But I have a feeling that this time, if they keep pussyfooting, is that the word? If they keep,
Why
forgot what,
not? They're
yeah, that's not the word.
pussyfooting.
Yeah, this is the word that came to my mind. I don't know why I come up with all these weird words with you all the time. I don't know where it came
To
from. But anyway,
pussyfoot means to touch something ever so slightly.
yeah, so if they continue acting this way and pretending that they're doing something while they're not doing anything, I don't think they're going to be able to get away with this time. I think that the issue is
Want
very
to bet?
serious. No, what I'm saying is
Want to bet?
you
They
think that
can
they're going
get
to
away with whatever they want. They've got
yeah,
all the power. You might have legality, but they have the power.
yeah,
There's
but
a
if they fall,
difference.
then what power are they left with? Do they want to go to new elections? Do they really want the government to fall? Do they really want a rebellion within their ranks? I mean, this is what they're threatening. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what has been threatened. So let's see. I
All
don't know.
right.
Plus, what difference would it make? You know, if there's new elections, are we going to get any better people? You know, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, it's predictable. Look, I'm going to go into the second. By the way, my listeners know nothing about what you discussed. Maybe they'll look it up.
It's
All
probably
right.
boring for them to hear it. I'm just discussing it with
No,
you.
but it's a major issue because a legal deal was made, and the government is actually behind it being reneged on, and it's a whole legality, and it's boring as hell, but it's happening, folks.
Yeah, this is what's happening. And meanwhile, Jews are getting killed. Again, a 23-year-old girl got stabbed to death yesterday by some Arab, or 2 days, I think it was yesterday, by two terrorists. And a lovely girl, a sweet girl.
I know, it was in a Jerusalem neighborhood,
it's
religious supermarket.
I mean, just beautiful people, you know, one after another. They all get stabbed, they get killed, and first of all, the media don't discuss it. You know, who hears about the Jews who get killed? Nobody hears about it except us, you know.
A
But
very small number of people. See, controlling the media is their expertise. All right. no matter how we're blabbing away on my teeny-weeny little show, they've got Yediots, they got Ha'ars, they got the whole media, and they are the ones who form, well, the image of the news, and we can't fight it.
Yes, so that's where we are, and it's sort of, I don't know if I can use the word unsettling. It's more than unsettling. It's just very sad to see all these beautiful people in their prime being killed, and it's just terrible. And I was going to say tortured, but then that's a whole new topic, talking about torture.
We'll go into it right now if you want. There's a village called Duma, and there were Palestinians killed in Duma, and the religious, as usual, by the way. And, heck. All right, they were taken in by the Shabak, which is our secret service, which has an agenda that is very, very much not pro-Jewish. It's very, very much pro-crime. And it just gets worse and worse. Go into the Duma and the torture.
Fine. So basically, that happened in July. There was absolutely no evidence whatsoever that it was done by those kids. Basically, they kidnapped a bunch of young kids between the age of 16 and maybe 20-something, really young boys who are very idealistic, who they call the Hilltop Youth. They started developing all kinds of small outposts in areas that are not inhabited by anyone. They don't disturb anybody. The only people they disturb are the powers that be that don't want Jews in places where they are not, quote, authorized, which, by the way, to my opinion, goes right along with Agenda 21 of the UN, which is a whole different topic, but you probably are very familiar with that.
Well, keep to the boys. Jewish boys are suffering deep iniquities. I'm being nice. That's a euphemism for torture. Yes. Now let's talk about the reports.
So basically, those boys, they put them under administrative detention, which basically means that they took them and they, with absolutely no reason whatsoever, there was no evidence against them whatsoever. They took, there were at least 10 boys. There were many more than them. And they kept them for months. First of all, they spread the news immediately all over the world that the Jews had killed the Arabs, which was a bunch of nonsense because, first of all, there was a feud going on in that village between Arabs. Another house was torched by Arabs. And number two, I think the Shabak had a very good motive. If you're asking me, I would not be one bit surprised if it was what you call a false flag. But this is just my personal opinion.
No, you don't shock me. Oh, Dave.
What?
Ben Gvir is their lawyer. It's the same setup as Gaza. You throw in Shabak agent Ben Gvir to be their lawyer, and you round him up, and you keep him in prison. There were 400 or 500 girls in the Negev because of Ben Gvir, the lawyer. Oh.
But he's not the only lawyer. There's other lawyers in that team, and they're good lawyers.
It doesn't matter. They're falling for this.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is it's all a setup, and they're taking innocent boys, and not only did they take them under administrative detention, but what was much worse is they tortured them. They actually did absolutely horrible things to them, including one of the boys who is an American citizen, who was a 17-year-old boy, was actually he was sodomized by the people in that jail.
Literally, or...
No, one boy was sodomized, okay? They eventually sodomized.
By our Shabak?
By one of the torturers, apparently, yes. This is what
we're not talking sticking a stick of some kind.
Well, I don't know, I don't have the exact details of how it happened.
I know what sodomy is. Our Secret Service is not supposed to sodomize prisoners.
They're not supposed to do any of them. They're not supposed to do torture either. I mean, torture is illegal.
That sounds pretty torturous.
They tried to extract confessions from these boys that were innocent, and they had nothing to confess because they hadn't done it. Because they had nothing to do with it. There was no evidence whatsoever. If there was any evidence, they created the evidence. There was nothing. So finally, under severe torture, one of the boys confessed, but it was, I mean, what confession is admissible when it is produced under torture? Under no law is that permissible. And not only that, they put a gag order on the whole story. They didn't want the story to come out, but it was a terrible outcry in the country over this thing. Because once you start with torture and with basically kidnapping people and torturing them, I mean, there's no end.
How about assassinating leaders that you don't like? You want to go through the Shabbat.
That's
never ending.
As you say, never ending. So there was a major outcry in the country. So what did they do? They came up with this diversion, where they came up with this story, this video that they had created themselves, because actually Ben Gvir was there too, but not only them.
It doesn't matter. He was in the midst. Look, you want to stir the pot.
Basically, before they went to this wedding, and they set up a whole bunch of. They allowed all kinds of Shabbat people to go in, and they had policemen. I mean, nobody had the organizers, the parents of the wedding couple had no idea what was going on. They were set up, and then they sent one of their provocateurs who started doing all kinds of nonsense. Basically, he was masked. Nobody knew who that person was. He just appeared, and he brandished a piece of paper that had a picture of the baby who had been murdered, and he took a knife through the paper. Terrible crime. Can you imagine? Somebody puts a knife through the paper. I mean, we're not talking about people getting murdered. We're not talking about a mother of 6 being stabbed to death. We're not talking about a young girl being stabbed to death. We're talking about somebody masked, a provocateur, taking a piece of paper and stabbing the paper, all right? So this was the major scandal in the whole country. How could they do such a terrible thing? What kind of
saw it on film. I saw it on film.
And then what did they do? They also investigated them. Finally, they arrested the musician. This was their great achievement. They managed to arrest a musician. And so the diversion went on for weeks. That's all they could talk about. And the chief rabbi of Israel condemned this horrible act of taking a knife and stabbing a paper. I mean, the whole world was in an uproar, and the Ministry of Justice.
Well, I wouldn't say the whole world, but they're manipulating the perception.
It was just the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing was just one gigantic circus, okay? It was just a circus. But everybody fell for it. I mean, not everybody. People who had a little sense didn't fall.
There aren't many of us, Daisy. There aren't many.
There aren't many, but the people who had a little sense realized it was just a diversion to take the heat away from their crimes, all right?
Daisy, I want you to know something.
Well,
if it wasn't for me actually examining the mass murderer, Dr. Baruch Goldstein, nobody would have realized the whole thing was a frame-up.
Well,
you know that. That's it.
Well,
I mean,
that's one portion of it. Other people also knew more about it. They knew that there was a frame-up. They knew that, but they didn't know all the details that you had. That's true. You had more information, but a lot of people knew that he wasn't Dr. Goldstein.
I don't really have a point of view whether I'm pro-Kiryat Arba or pro-Hebron, but I'm really, really pro-justice. And what's going on is you're being set up, so I'm siding with you against people who are setting you up.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and I appreciate that you're doing that, Barry. I think that you're a good soul, and I think that you're going to get your reward at some point, for basically being a good guy. But no, seriously, I mean
No, I'm being a good journalist. Okay?
Yes.
I'm taking the facts and reaching the obvious conclusion, and people don't want to hear the obvious conclusion. They don't. They're brainwashed, and it's working. And what's happening right now, watch out, Kiryat Arba. You're being set up again, big time.
I know. But I want to tell you something. Just want to divert for a minute, okay? You see, I'm sure a lot of your readers who are not really. I know that not your readers. I know your audience is not a Jewish audience. I've heard some of these.
That's not true. It's everybody. No? It's everybody. I'm very proud of my Christian. Oh, you know what? We have to take a 3-minute break. Don't think I've got a Christian show. I've got a show with everybody listening. It's surprising the emails I get. And, well, that article that I called poop last week went all over the place. We'll get to that in 3 minutes.
I also wrote an article about the poop. I said this time it's not about the poop, it's about the poop. So
send it to me. We'll talk about it in 3 minutes. Plug away into me. Folks, it's Barry Chamish.
The book of Revelation says, "The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ." This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie, with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character, as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy, in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Hey folks, we're back. This is Barry Chamish. Just know all my books, and I do plenty on Hebron, plenty. All the way back to, I think, Save, even before Save Israel. You get them at lulu.com. That's www.lulu.com. There's a search box just right in my last name, Chamish, C-H-A-M-I-S-H. Thank you, David Samarin. I do have a website still hanging in there, www.barrychamish. What was that? Once again, www.barrychamish.com. Daisy.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We are being interrupted by some kind of a weird sound. I don't know what it is. Hello?
Oh, gosh.
What is it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you too. Okay, it's fine now. But for a little while, it was,
I heard it. Okay.
Okay.
Don't take too much stock in it for now. Just plug yourself.
Okay. All right. So, where were we?
We were plugging yourself so that people can read you.
Oh, okay. So basically, what do you mean plugging myself? What do you mean by that?
Just say Israel Truth Times.
Yes, Israel Truth Times is my website. I haven't written in about a week or so, but it will come again. I'm silent right now. I'm coming to your shows for the past couple of weeks, so I haven't written really, but it will come back, I guess.
You think that's being silent? Okay, look. Last week after our show, I put together an article that I hope gets you more people visiting IsraelTruthTimes.com.
Actually, they have. A lot of people started reading the article I had written about the Vatican 7 years ago. So that's good. It's it was.
We're our only allies. We're fighting against a really. Listen, when it comes, I want to tell you something you wrote. You want to talk about the Altalena, which, by the way, was the boat that Menachem Begin was on that was sunk by Yitzhak Rabin. That's a little too obscure, except I knew the Kolek family, and that includes Teddy. He was one of the two brothers. I knew Vered Kolek, very attractive girl. One reason or another, she found me of some use or whatever. I met her father. I didn't know that these people were gunning down Jews, forcing them into Africa, hunting them in every corner.
I know, it's sickening, isn't it? Absolutely sickening.
A pretty girl. Can you believe this family would be doing this? And my family were their allies. I was raised with pioneer women and the whole thing.
Well, most people didn't know what was really going on behind the scenes. I mean, people fell for the PR. They fell for the pretty picture that they gave. They were masters at deception, and unfortunately, a lot of people fell for it. Not just your family. Many people fell, and little by little, I think the mask is falling off. And more people are starting to realize who they really are, these people. And the truth is slowly but surely coming to light.
Wanna bet? I'm watching the resistance as strong as ever. I don't see the breakdown. The only breakdown I see is there are so many Israelis in America. All right?
That's
They've
true.
given up. Yes,
that's true. Yeah, a lot of Israelis go to America to make money and to advance their careers, but many Israelis leave because they see through the deception, and they're so sickened by what's happening in this country. They just don't want any part. Yeah, they don't want any part of it. They're just really disgusted. There's a very large diaspora of Israelis,
Israel is being torn apart. The right is thoroughly divided. It's all being mucked up the way. Let's go straight to the Last Supper yeshiva.
Yeah, I want before we go there, I want to mention two things about the Vatican. Okay, I read two. Okay, I want to mention first of all about this Rouhani with the meeting of Rouhani with the Pope today. You heard over the news that he went to Italy. Not only he started to make all kinds of financial deals with Europe, where he's going to be so powerful. But he had a reception, he had an audience with the Pope. They were together for 40 minutes. Now, that when
not an audience.
They had a meeting.
They had a face-to-face Vatican meeting.
Yes.
All right, forget it. I won't correct it.
Whatever you want to call it. Maybe my wording wasn't correct. But they met for 40 minutes. And we know very well when they have these meetings, whatever they tell about the meeting is what they want people to hear about what was really going on. So I don't believe a word of what they said of what's going on in the meeting. But I know one thing. I watched a video this week that really made a very deep impression on me. They were discussing the fact that actually, who was responsible for the creation of the Islamic Republic of Iran?
Well, I would imagine it came from France. That's where...
Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat was behind it. He's the one that trained the Revolutionary Guard. He's the one that trained them. They basically, if it wasn't for Arafat, there would have been no Islamic Republic of Iran. And they were working together. I mean, Arafat supported Iran. Iran supported Arafat. It was one unit, basically. And now if you realize that the Pope has just made an agreement with the Palestinians, who are the Palestinian Arafat. He just made a deal with them. So is it a surprise that Rouhani met the Pope? The friend of my friend is my friend. They were all working together. It's one unit. And basically they're all together against the Jews. The whole world is getting against the Jews. And what I wanted to bring up before your little interruption, your 3-minute break,
Yeah.
I'm sure that your audience, if your audience is made of people who read the Psalms, because it's a Protestant channel, so they know the Psalms of David, of King David, and the way the Psalms are divided according to Jewish calendar is every day of the month there are a number of Psalms that are being read, and today I was going to read the Psalms of today. And it's talking about exactly what's happening. It was written by King David how many years ago? When did King David live? How many?
3,200 years ago.
He talked, it's Psalm number 83. And the words describe exactly what's going on today. It's just unbelievable. I'm going to read you
listen, Daisy, there are only so many ways a world can go. I mean, look. Don't read it right
Listen
now.
to these words. Just three.
Oh,
I'm going to read you a few. Okay. Behold, your foes are in uproar, and those who hate you have raised their head. Against your nation they plot deviously. They take counsel against those sheltered by you. They say, come, let us cut them off from nationhood, so Israel's name will not be remembered anymore. For they take counsel together unanimously. They strike a covenant against you. The tent of Edom, who is that? That's the Pope. The Ishmaelite, who is that?
No, he isn't. That is not the Pope. Look, Daisy, don't dive into this.
Look, I'm just telling you that basically what was going, that the story of the world being against the
only
people
about
of
8,
Israel
9 ways. There's
has been
only
going
a
on
few-
forever.
Oh,
It's been
God.
going on
Stop.
forever.
Of course it's been going on. There's only so many possibilities.
When
Look,
I'm saying the whole world has always wanted to destroy the Jewish people, nothing has stopped, nothing has changed. They've done it for 3,200 years. They still do it, and we're still here, thank God. Okay?
no, we're not here. All of us were Listen, we were wiped out of Europe, down to 100,000, 6
Okay.
million. We're lost. They're not here. Daisy, don't do this. It's such a wrong way of thinking. I want to talk about the Pope coming to Israel about, 2 years ago, making that dramatic appeal. He walked from Bethlehem to the fence, and he said, like Ronald Reagan said, tear down this wall. Behind the scenes, they wanted basically, what they called it was the Last Supper Yeshiva. We call it something else. That is the Tomb of David Yeshiva. And they got it. Now tell me what you know about that.
Okay, fine. So anyway, all I wanted to say is that, on Passover, we always say that the whole world tries to destroy us, but God comes to our help. And so we'll see this
God
time. Hopefully
abandoned us in Europe. He abandoned us
did.
to the last Jew. Every one of them were abandoned. Look,
all right, well, okay, never mind. Let's go back. Let's speak about the diaspora yeshiva. But I happen to disagree with you. This is where
really?
faith comes in.
They're there. You could call up your relatives, see how they are. Everyone's fine.
No,
Then
I'm not
don't
saying
do
that. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not saying that. But anyway, let's go.
Work.
Okay, well, never mind. Okay, let's discuss the
And it's not
diaspora
going to
yeshiva.
work for Hebron.
Well, okay.
It's the same story being repeated. The real enemy that you're not mentioning is the Jews themselves. It's what you call labor Zionists. They despise the religious. They couldn't care less if they were removed. They cut deals with the Nazis. There's a whole different reality you're not talking about.
We are not disagreeing, Barry. I agree with you. We don't have an argument here. Okay?
But watch out for Hebron, because it's being done to
Okay,
you
I
again.
know. I know our worst enemies are the people that are the Jews themselves, what we call the Erev Rav, the mixed multitudes. That's the worst enemy of the real Jews. And that's what we're dealing with today. But what? What?
Slowly we're getting there. Now, what happened at the yeshiva?
Basically.
No.
The Diaspora Yeshiva, the building, the Diaspora Yeshiva happens to be a yeshiva that is sitting on the compound of Har Zion, which is Mount Zion. Har Zion has been the seat of the royalty of the Jewish people since King David was buried there. Not only is King David buried there, but King Solomon is buried there. There are 12 kings who are buried there. And this has been 12 Jewish kings, I forgot their names, but there's 12 kings and there's also 2 high priests who are buried there. And there is evidence to that going back in our tradition for centuries and going back to millennia already. We knew, since King David, we knew this was the place of his burial. This is Jewish.
So why does the Vatican want Har Zion?
Why do they want Har Zion?
Yeah.
Because
and what did they do to get it? And by the way, I get emails from them all the time.
Yes, there is all kinds of secret deals that were done between the State of Israel and the Vatican. And to this day, we don't exactly know what the secret deals are, but we can see the reality on the ground. Okay, and I was there when there was this whole uproar on the Shavuot last year, Pentecost. Okay, and I was a witness to the whole thing. I saw exactly what happened. It was absolutely sickening. But first, I want to discuss the site itself. Okay, Har Zion is the place where the kings of Israel are buried. But at the same time, on top of that building, which they claim, the Catholic Church claims that the Last Supper of their idol took place there. Okay? I will not mention the name of the idol, but they claim that the idol's Last Supper happened there. The Jewish men who
you can say Jesus.
Okay,
they're allowed to say it's
the man that they turn into a god. Okay, the man that they turned into a god had his Last Supper there, and therefore they claim that it is holy to them. But in addition to that, you know very well the story about the abbey in Aachen, right, in Germany, that used to be the seat of Charlemagne. Sorry, the seat of Charlemagne, right? Okay. The Holy Roman Empire. Okay, it used to be the seat of the Holy Roman Empire, and they recreated that exact same structure. I forgot which one copied which, if Aachen copied Jerusalem or Jerusalem copied Aachen, but the bottom line is they want to recreate the Holy Roman Empire with its seat in Jerusalem. And therefore they want to have that place so that they can rule the whole world from Jerusalem with the Pope at its helm. I mean, that's the whole goal of their going through this whole thing. It's an issue of power. They claim religion, but the bottom line is power, okay? I'm not saying they don't believe in that religious thing, and it creates a lot of religious antagonism because a lot of people believe in it. But the fact is, what they want to do is they want to create the one world government with at its head the Pope, who would be sitting in Jerusalem. You know about that. I don't have to tell you, right?
Yeah, but, you know, here and there's a listener who might have, you know, the news may have passed him by.
Okay. So basically, this is what this whole fight is all about. And since we know that the Israeli government is in cahoot with the Vatican, I mean, we know it from many sources. We have seen how they handled when the Pope came to Israel. It was like the sovereign arrived to Israel, you know. And we constantly have delegates from the Vatican arriving in Israel, and there is wheeling and dealing, and then we have Shimon Peres, Yamach Shemo, and then, I mean, basically, there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes, but then what you see is you see the facts on the ground, and you see the result on the ground. And I can tell you that when I was there, I went up to that room there and I created a ruckus. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but I can tell you that the police within 30 seconds was there and grabbed me and took me out of there. The police works for them. Okay? I saw it with my own eyes. I experienced it in my own flesh. Okay? So basically, the Israeli police works for them. So that's what's going on. What?
If you're given an order from higher up than you, and you're a policeman, you don't know you don't know who's giving you the order. You just have to follow it.
Exactly, but who gives the orders and what orders do they give? Do they protect the Jews or do they protect the Vatican? And I'm telling you that if they have to choose between the Jews and the Vatican, they choose the Vatican. No question whatsoever. So basically, I mean, we see what's happening in Jerusalem. Whenever a Jew gets attacked, he's usually the one that's being indicted. And when an Arab gets attacked, okay, they speak a lot. They arrest him for a few days. They put him in jail for a few years. They give him the royal treatment. Then he gets released. And basically, all the cards are stacked against the Jews, especially the religious Jews we're talking about, the settlers and the religious Jews. And this is how the state of Israel is set up. And the Vatican and the King David, the tomb of King David is a...
I think the foundations are so shaky for that country to survive. Not from the Arab enemy. There's a lot of stuff... Yes.
From within. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what's happening in the King David tomb right now? They started digging right at the King David tomb. Now you should know that according to Jewish tradition, many times people have tried to go in there, in the tomb. They tried to go in and all the people who went there died. And now they started digging.
What does that mean? What do you mean they died? How'd they die?
They just died. They went there and they couldn't. They just were not able to handle whatever happened. Whoever went in there died. Okay, whoever tried to go into the tomb of King David died. That's all I can tell you. It happened several times. So basically, now they have archaeologists that are working together. What they call the Greek Church, Greek Orthodox Church. But you know what? I have my doubts regarding the Greek Orthodox Church, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was there. I don't know if you remember on Pentecost there was this whole story. There was a big fight going on at the King David tomb, because on the one hand it was the Jewish Shavuot, and at the same time the church had their holiday also, and so they claimed that the Greek Orthodox Church had come there and wanted their services. It's true that they came in the morning, but then I was there the afternoon and I thought they just lied. It was not the Greeks, it was the Catholic Church. Actually, it was the Illuminatis that appeared there. I don't want to get into all the details.
No, but my listeners in part know what you're referring to. Okay. That goes to Weisenhop, and that goes all the way to Frankfurt, Germany, and Jacob Frank, and
so basically they're using the Greeks as a cop-out. Okay, I'm not saying the Greeks don't have a part in it, but a very small part in it. I believe it's the Vatican doing all that stuff. If you're asking me, I don't have a proof, but if they say the Greek Orthodox Church, I have my serious doubts. I don't think it's just the Greek Orthodox. I think it's a lot more than just the Greek Orthodox.
Pesach fell the same day as Easter, and Easter won. I recall that little episode as well.
It was a Shavuot also, Shavuot and all that. There was a big fight going on there.
I recall it.
Yeah,
they send me emails. All kinds of people send me emails, and whether they want any sort of publicity on their behalf, they're getting none. All right, none. No matter what their argument is, no one is listening. So,
yeah, but I can tell you the Jews are putting up a fight, but it's sort of a losing fight, because you're dealing not only with the Vatican, you're dealing with the powers that be in Israel, you're dealing with all these leftists, all these basically people who are sold out. You know, what can I tell you? You can put the words in my mouth. You know what I mean by people who are sold out. You can call them whatever you want. I probably won't say the word here because I have a feeling that some people are listening who should be listening.
Inside Israel? Someone's going to be... You know what? You survived this. You're a lot luckier than other people I know. All right.
I'm not
You
lucky. I think,
survived it.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not like skill. However you did it, a lot of
no.
people went
I have
down.
protection from God. That's what I believe, because I'm telling the truth, and
And
that's why.
Benjamin Kahana didn't.
Oh yes, Benjamin Kahana was actually he was wonderful, and I am so sorry
But
about
he
what happened to
didn't
him.
have protection from God
Oh,
because
well,
he was assassinated on the road.
exactly. So I know. I understand what you're saying. By the way, his grandson right now is supposed to be released next week from his 6 months administrative detention. He's on a hunger strike because he's afraid they're going to keep him again there. They could keep him indefinitely imprisoned. And the wife of Mekahana, since you brought this up, put out a request for people to do everything they can to request from the government to release the boy. She's afraid for his life. And there's
No
another one
kidding.
now.
After Mayer and his son were clearly assassinated,
Yeah.
she's now afraid for her. Listen,
Yeah,
Daisy,
the
I want to
parents- yeah.
interrupt.
Well,
I
okay,
have
go
to
ahead.
interrupt. I've got
Okay.
a guest coming up. I mean, you're talking about a white American who became a Muslim, and he runs all these. Let's just say he's got this incredible delusion about why Jews should voluntarily put up their hands because the Babylonian Talmud. Can you believe this thing was written like 250 years before the exile, banned resisting exile? I mean, it's so wacky. Now, if you want, you can stick around and listen. I don't intend to let him. I spoke to someone, and I went through his arguments with someone who knows this stuff, and they're so flimsy. That's all I can tell you. It's not a good, but I think maybe if I can get him to break through, he'll understand we're all being used. All of us. Jews, Muslim, we're all being used. We're all being stirred up.
All right.
Now the question is who and why, and if finally people stop with their falling for the reality they're being fed, maybe we'll start looking at that. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, because the time is coming up. You're gonna hear bing, gling, 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 gling in a minute or so. So.
That's guaranteed. But I want,
Yeah.
if you want to stick around, I did real research. Look, let's just say this. As long as you have guys like this defending, let's just say this. They're being used. There is a purpose. I couldn't be more happy that 1.5 million so-called refugees are being allowed to Germany. I can't wait to see what the Germans do to them, and it won't be long. The whole pot is being stirred. Jews and Arabs are the victims, and if we don't understand, we're all going to pay the price. And boy, do I feel bad for you in Kiryat Arba and Hebron. I saw the Hebron Square massacre. They sent the nut house in Rehavia, armed him, dressed him as a soldier, and next day he shot up the square. There were no more Jews in Hebron. That's how you got rid of the Jewish presence. Real easy. Set up the religious nut and have them do a few shots, and away you go.
Oh, there's your alarm.
There's
Okay.
Okay. Well, I hope this was a little bit informative to your
It was very,
listeners.
very informative. You got
Okay.
you can hear my emotion. When I'm with you, I get the worst coming out of me in a way.
I see that. I see. You get very upset because.
Did you like
even-
my article, Poop?
Yes, it was very good. It was very good.
Thank you. That's
Okay,
what
it's
it
very
does.
true times. Okay. All right. Thank you, Barry. Bye bye.
Till next time.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
With Evan Barry.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.